2020 is almost here, so I'm starting the year off right with my January budget setup. Stay tuned to see how we are going to kick off the new year. Hi, and welcome to the Budget Bounce. I'm Jen, and I am a budget and Excel nerd, and I totally own it. So I have spreadsheets for my spreadsheets. You'll get to see some of that in action as I set up our first budget for 2020. So let's jump right in. While I don't always film it and share it on the channel, I go through this process every single month, making a plan for all of our dollars on paper, if you will, before we actually receive any of it. So let's go ahead and get started. And what you can see over here is I've actually copied over our December budget, and I just removed everything out of the actuals column. We're going to focus on the budgeted column, and so we'll need to be making some changes along the way here. Now, while I don't show the details of who brings in what, I am very transparent about what our total take-home pay is. For January, we are expecting $9,232, and this number represents our gross income from our full-time jobs minus federal, state, Social Security, and Medicare tax. So that's our true take-home pay, and then what I do is I account for all of the deductions from our paychecks throughout the budget. So moving into the first expense category here of giving, we actually don't have anything planned in January, so that's at 0. Up next is housing, and we will have our mortgage at $1,054, our gas and electric utilities at $165, water, garbage, and sewer is 0 since it's quarterly and doesn't get paid until February. Mobile services will be around $178. And the internet will be $91.49, and that brings our total to $1,489 for January. For transportation, we are planning on $400 for gas, and $21.07 is what this is. Actually, it changed by 10 cents for OnStar, and those are our regular monthly expenses in this category. But we also plan on replacing the engine in our Trailblazer, and so I need to add a line for that. And I'm going to put in here that I think that's going to cost about $2,300, plus we're expecting a few hundred more for incidental issues because it's been sitting in our driveway for the past 20 months. I kid you not. We paid it off in March of 2018, or maybe the very beginning of April of 2018, and it died by the end of April. So anyhow, we didn't want to get rid of it. Matt felt strongly about let's save up and let's replace the engine, and it wasn't a priority until this year when our youngest, who lives at home, he's a senior in high school, he got a job, and his first job, and he has been working 5 nights a week and going to school every day. And when you have 3 adults going in literally 4 different directions every day, well, at least 3 or 4 days a week anyway, and we're sharing 2 vehicles, it gets a little tricky. So we decided to make it a priority and start saving. So what we're doing here is we have saved up the money, and so we are going to expect the $2,300 plus the incidental things. So I'm going to put $3,000 in here. And then also we have some work to do on the Lucerne. So I'm going to put that in here. Let's update the formulas. And then you can see that. Oh, and I think I have some registrations to pay. Yes. Also, since we're going to be driving the Trailblazer, I have to register that bad boy. And also, we have to register the Traverse. We have to renew the plates for that. So I'm going to put about $310 in here for that. Hopefully we won't have as much Uber once we get this figured out. That's why Uber has become a line item, is because sometimes we just can't all get where we need to. And so somebody has to take an Uber. And Henry has been sharing in those expenses, but that has become, like last month in December, I think we spent about $45 on Uber. So that brings our total for transportation to $3,931. It's basically like we're replacing our vehicle. The good news is, so you guys know, is that, Henry has been working and he is buying the Lucerne from us. So he has been paying us since, I think, August or September. and he has paid us $1,800. And so he will be done with that, and then we put in the rest here. So let's move on to food. In food, we plan on doing $450 for groceries and $150 for dining, bringing our total food budget to $600. Next up is the Henry category, and like I mentioned, he's our youngest and is a senior in high school. We're going to add $200 to his food service account here, and that should be it for him in January as far as I know. Moving on to pets, we're going to have $15 for our long-haired cat's grooming. Nothing for food since we just bought some in December. We are going to have a dental service for Bella, our dog. So that will cost around $200. And I have to say, when you look at these line items, we are really lucky. Our animals, our dog is 9 and our 2 cats are 10 and 11. And we're really lucky that they're all very healthy and they don't require any daily meds or anything like that other than, their vaccinations every year. And then we give flea treatments to our dog because she's the one who goes outside. We're really lucky that this is we allow $150 a month for all 3 of our animals to cover everything. And that has worked so far. So if we add in the vet expenses we're expecting, you look here and we're at $215 for. So for insurance, this category is almost all deductions that come out of our paychecks. And so when you look here, all of this, I don't know what that total is. It comes to $683.82. This comes out of our paychecks. So when I gave you that initial number up top, really, honestly, our direct deposit into our accounts is all reduced by this amount. And there really aren't any changes here. Everything that changed actually changed on November 1st. And so, actually there is one change here. I'm so sorry. 6222. There we go. Is a change for short-term disability. Then the mortgage policy that we have, that one went up a few dollars because Matt it used to be $38 a month. It went up because Matt had a milestone birthday this year. So they adjusted that, and our identity theft is just the Xander insurance for the whole family. And that brings our total to $752. In entertainment, we've got Netflix at $12.99, the Ink service at $3.18. This is our movie club at $9.62, and then family entertainment is at $50. So our total is $75 for entertainment for January. In health, my flexible spending account year starts over on January 1st, and the annual maximum increased by $50 to $2,750. So I have enrolled in the new maximum, which increases my monthly deductions to $114 and I think 58 cents or something. So we will have a new total of, I believe, I'm going to put in here, $304.58, I believe is the new amount for FSA. And then we have the gym, and then we plan on $150 in medical spending for services in 2019. We've used up all of Matt's FSA and all of my FSA. And so we don't have any more tax-free dollars that have already been set aside to use. So as these, if you haven't watched any of my videos before, my husband works for the state, and the state is very, very slow to pay claims. And so we get bills for services from like 9 months ago. So in January, we're going to be receiving things from like March and April of last year. So we don't have any FSA money to pay for that. So we have to account for it, that we'll have some bills to pay. And I'm planning on $150. Let's see here. That brings our total to $464. In extras, I have my hair and brows appointment in January, and that's going to be $52. So I'm going to put that in here. And I'm going to add some travel because we are going to my sister's to visit in January, and that's a 2.5-hour drive. And we typically do some things like we'll usually eat out once while we're there. And so I'm going to throw $100 into that. Then as we move into crap, I forgot about that. Let's take a look at my annual expenses worksheet to see what we have coming up in January. So let me just say that these items are going to fall into various categories in the budget. This is my annual expenses spreadsheet, and thank you to Wendy Valencia for doing a video on her annual expenses spreadsheet because it was a lifesaver for us. The crap I forgot about that category came out of the fact that I didn't have this spreadsheet, and you can see there are a lot of things on this list that are irregular. They're irregular things, and they're just hard to, I mean, it's not hard to remember that you have somebody's birthday, but remembering what months oil changes are coming up and registrations for cars and all these other things like subscriptions and things like that, that's really hard to remember. So I came up with this, and each month I marked in here each month which things are hitting. So what we do here is I filter. I only want to see anything that has an X in January. And it comes to 4 different line items here. So here's the Traverse tag renewal, and I've already identified that, and I've already put that in the transportation section. What I didn't do was put an oil change in there, and while this says Lucerne, it's actually going to be the Traverse that's going to need an oil change, and then February we'll probably have to do one for the Lucerne, but we'll touch on that when we get there. And then I've already accounted for Henry's food service account, but I have not accounted for the Marvel Comics subscription, which is an annual subscription. So let's go back into the budget and go back up to transportation. And let's add in $80 for the Traverse, which brings our category for transportation to over $4,000 now. And then let's go into entertainment. And you can see here I already added the line for the Marvel subscription. So that is $69. So that brings that category up to $144. All right, moving on to envelopes. We have, let's see here. I need to make a change. Pardon me. So I'm going to change household to 75 and our miscellaneous to 40. And that brings our total envelopes to $215. And of course, that includes our personal spending for me and Matt. In the budget balance, I don't expect anything other than the $9.99 that I pay for Adobe Spark each month. So that one, there's no surprises as far as I know. Moving on to savings, we will be putting $50 per month into our emergency fund for right now, plus our standard amounts for the kiddos. So we have those listed here. And then Matt and I also contribute to our retirement. The total for savings comes to $439. And then you can see this is where we were. This is where we will be going into the month. And it's $4,651. And then when I add in my formula, we're just assuming that we're going to do all of these things. You can see how the numbers change over here. So by the end of January, we should have $2,225 in liquid savings. And then this is just a running total of how much we have contributed to our retirement. And actually, I'm going to reset that because I want to run it for the year. So I'm going to mark previous balance as 0 here so that we'll have a running total of how much we put in this year. In sinking funds, we are going to do $275 to auto insurance. We're not going to put anything in auto registration since we're spending it all. $20 to business travel, $80 to city utilities, $40 to clothing, $25 to estate planning, $40 to gifts, $50 to Henry instead of $250 since we spent $200 of it up top on his food service account, $50 to holidays. Image Cosmetics, we're not going to put anything in since it's normally $50 and we are spending all of that on my hair appointment. Life insurance will be $81. We're not going to put anything towards medical. We're going to do $50 to one check ahead, and that is, I'm trying to build up an account to have at least Matt's paychecks covered so we can just automatically transfer it in at the first of the month. My goal is I want to be able to pay as many of our bills as possible during the first week of the month and have that all done. So that's going to be an ongoing, it'll probably take us a while to get there, but that's what that's for. Online subscriptions is going to be $80. Pet expense, we're actually not going to put anything here since we're spending all $150 and then some this month with the vet visit. And then $25 for technology, which is for any repairs or replacement of tech that we have, like phones and laptops and things like that. Travel will be $340. Vacation is going to be $50. We're going to put $432 to vehicles, and we're going to do $15 to wedding anniversary. So I feel like I missed something. Oh, I see what it is. We have an extra Friday here, so we're going to make this $425. There we go. That's what it is. I knew my numbers were off. So that brings our total sinking funds to $1,738 is the plan. Now, I also have to account for the spending that we're going to be doing out of the sinking funds in January. So I'm going to remove what's here. Those were things that happened in December. So we're not spending anything in auto insurance, but I am going to have to spend all $256 of this out of auto registrations. It's actually going to be over $300, so we'll have to cash flow the difference. Then we're going to take $69 for the Marvel subscription out of the online subscriptions. We will be taking $65 from pet expense to cover there's a $215 expected expense. Normally we would save $150, so we need $65 to get to $215. So $65 from there, and then let's see here, $100 out of travel for our trip to visit my sister, and then we're going to take $3,200 out of the vehicle account, and this is going to cover, when I mentioned that there might be miscellaneous repairs on the Trailblazer. We have a 2006 Trailblazer, and the engine has died on it, and we have to buy a different engine, so we're buying a used one. We expect that installed to be around $2,300. I'm allowing a couple hundred extra for in case something goes wrong and they need to charge a little more for labor, plus another $500 there for just incidental things. We know we need to replace a tire. We have a feeling we might need a new battery, some things like that. And then there will be towing. So we're actually going to have it towed to the shop. And I'm not sure what else will come up, but the other $200 then is for repairs to the Lucerne. So there's the $3,200. So while, and that's everything. And while we're putting over $1,700 into the accounts, we are actually taking out more than twice that. $3,690 is what we will be taking out to use for expenses that we knew were coming and we've been saving for. That's what sinking funds are all about. And I know we have a lot of sinking funds and not everybody agrees with that approach, but for me, it allows me to sleep at night knowing that we have it there if we need it, when we need it, because many of these things are a when we need it. And, it's just a peace of mind that I need to be able to get through this process. So the last thing that I need to do here is I need to take that $3,690 and I need to put it in our income to cover the expenses that we've already listed in the budget. So I'm going to jump back up to the top and I'm going to put sinking funds in here, and I'm going to add in 3,690. That brings our income bucket to $12,922 to work with for the month. So let's go back down here and we'll move into the debt section. Here's some background on what you're seeing here. We use two different font colors to differentiate between those items with Matt's name on them and those that have my name on them. Pink is for me and black is for him, and most of these, they are separate, but there are a couple of them that we did together. And so if my name's on it, even though Matt's on it, it's pink. So this first section shows all the debts that we've already paid off. There are 17 listed here. These are all their various things. Here you can see I had IRS, we've got credit cards, we've got medical bills, we've got phones, we've got cars. We've paid off all kinds of things, you guys. So 17 different accounts have been paid off in full. And the next section then is, these are debts that have been charged off, excuse me. All of these now, I've moved student loans out, and I'll explain why in a minute. All of these are charged off. So actually, I think I'm just going to change this to charged off. These are all old debts. You'll notice they're all in black. These are Matt's. They are things that don't belong to any of these companies anymore. And Matt felt very strongly that we pay on the things that have my name on them. And so that's what we're doing. We're not doing a true debt snowball. We're not doing a true debt avalanche. We are focused on things that are in my name, and then we just change as the urgency. If we need to make changes, we do as the urgency comes up. Moving down here to the actively paying section. This is where you can see these are all the debts we're paying on right now. And everything that you see listed here is our minimums with the, except for this. So this is from last month. So I'm going to change that to $377. So here's what we've got. So we pay $50 to Care Credit. I had $75 in there for December because we had 3 bi-weekly Tuesdays in there. That's when they take it out. So this month it'll go back to just 2. We pay $25 to a Capital One card, $154 to my 401k loan, $57 to Matt's private student loan. We have we don't have anything to Citi Card. Yeah, because if you missed it, I had it on Instagram that we paid off our Citi Card. So that's really, really exciting. And if you guys aren't familiar with this, or if you don't remember, I have a video out here on the channel called My Debt Fail, and it's about how Citi Card sued me and how incredibly traumatic that was for me. It was the one thing I didn't get set up before we got to that point, and it was very upsetting. And so I owed them the money. I totally own that. Just know that. I totally own that I owed them the money. It was just the way that they went about it was very traumatic. So anyhow, I was bound and determined to be done with that debt in 2019, and that's what we were able to do, and I paid that off 6 months early. It was actually coming up. The final payment was going to be in June of 2020, but we are officially done with that now. So then we have $190 to Lowe's, we have $400 to another Visa, $550 for our car payment, $725 to our to child support, $150 to family loan, and then we need to do $225 to student loans. That brings us to $2,526 for debt. Now, let's take a closer look at the totals down here at the bottom, and we're over a little bit here. So I need to figure out where I can make up that difference. And I think I'll probably do it in the vehicle fund. Yep, that's right where I'm doing it. So this will be $396.63 is where that will hit. And that brings us to an even 0 left over. Our total income is $12,922, and our total expenses will be $12,922 according to this plan. Now, things change throughout the month. Things change all the time. Every month we have changes, but I track against this regularly and I keep the budget column intact. I don't change this throughout the month so we can see the true activity and, versus what we planned. Anyhow, the other thing I wanted to show you is, I forgot to add this in. I wanted to do this formula so you guys could see everything. So we're just assuming that we're going to go ahead and do exactly what's listed here. And so that's going to bring, even after we take out $3,700 almost, we're still going to have $6,000 in our sinking funds. And that, like I said, helps me sleep at night. I'm okay with that. And so is Matt. And then down here, if we do the same, oh, sorry, that was the dog. Let's do the same here. So this makes changes across the way here. And looks like we are going to be sitting right at $200,000 at the end of the month in January. And we will have paid off over $52,000. So that's our January 2020 budget plan. We have a lot going on, and we are keeping our fingers crossed that the Trailblazer repairs won't go past the 3,000 mark, since we have some things to do with Lucerne as well. And by the way, I didn't mention, but we have like $2,000 worth of work to do on the Lucerne. And that's something that we told Henry that we would take care of so that it would be reliable. We've been using it, but it needs a lot of work. So both of these vehicles have close to 200,000 miles on them, and we are keeping them running as long as we can. We don't have payments on either one, but it's an investment to keep our vehicles going. Have you guys done your budget yet for January? And do you prefer to do yours on paper, or are you an Excel or maybe Google Sheets person? Or maybe you like to do it like in an app like YNAB or EveryDollar? Tell me about it in the comments below. Would love to hear from you how you're doing and what your favorite form of budgeting is. So if you like this video, the best compliment you can give us is to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend or loved one who could benefit from it. So feel free to do that anytime. That's all I got for you today. Until next time.